Okay, lovely. Well, welcome everybody, I hope you're going to enjoy another CPD and business building webinar with the IAPC&M. I'm your host, Dawn Campbell, and today I'm joined by the lovely Ariana. Hello, Ariana.
Hello, everybody.
Whose name, incidentally, I should say, has a long historical meaning. It means very holy. Did you know that?
I did indeed. Yeah, I did. I know. When you have an unusual name like mine, it pays well to research it because people are always asking about it. So.
So, I mean, it's quite relevant since we're going to be learning to become gurus. You know, what perfect timing considering COVID, when, you know, it's made the digital marketing space so incredibly noisy, and we're trying all to find ways of engaging, not just with our clients, but prospective clients. So let's start the learning. We've got 90 minutes. And let's learn from a multimedia digital expert, somebody who specializes in this area. So grab your pad and pens, and over to you, Ariana, please.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. I'm still having some people being admitted here. I don't know if all of you received the survey that I sent out, and thank you for some of you who have completed it, which is really, really helpful. So just to say, I tried to tailor the presentation based on some of the responses that you sent to make sure that it's relevant for as many of you as possible. Obviously, in 90 minutes, we have a limited time to try and get through sort of like the basics of the things that I want to talk to you about from a digital marketing perspective. And there is an opportunity, which I can talk about at the end, to do some more work with me in the future if that is of interest. So I'm just going to kick off and sort of explain who I am. So with my lovely introduction that Dawn gave me, just to sort of say, I've got 16 years worth of media and sales experience. Over my time, I've worked in the Daily Mail Group, the Telegraph Group, Bauer Media, Dennis Publishing, Maximum Media. My last job was Chief Commercial Officer for the publishing company Sheology, which is a big parenting platform here. So I think it's fair to say I have a lot of experience within the sales marketing and digital marketing arena. About 3 years ago, I took a leap of faith and I decided to retrain and work for myself. So in that time, I retrained as a life, business and career coach with Mindstream, which has come full circle now because I'm actually teaching coaching with Mindstream now and teaching digital media and marketing to those graduating students. I also teach digital media and marketing in the Digital Marketing Academy of Ireland and the Fitzwilliam Institute. I have my own recruitment company. I'm a celebrant. I do numerous things. I'm what is now known as a multi-hyphenate. So taking all of those kind of skills and using it in my coaching journey as well. And what I do is I help people like yourselves who have, you know, become coaches or celebrants or have small businesses, and help them to kind of realize themselves as business people, as entrepreneurs, and as multi-skilled in a number of different areas. So I think if, like most coaches, you were drawn to the profession because you want to help people, you know, that's brilliant and wonderful, and that is why we all do that. But obviously the truth is that you can't help that many people if they don't know about you, if they don't know how to find you. So while many of us, and I was one of them, retrained as a coach, we also simultaneously had to then become digital marketing gurus in our own right. So we had to also become content creators, marketeers, salespeople, networkers, and social media managers, essentially. So you have to try and be all of those things in one in order for you to be a successful coach. Unless you have the money to outsource all of that, but a lot of us, you know, who are working for ourselves like to keep that in-house. So that's an introduction to me. In terms of then introducing you all into this as well, this is where the survey results come in. So I had about 5 people reply, so I'm just going to use that as the kind of the average for this presentation. So one of the questions that I asked was, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to digital marketing? And you can see there's some of the results. And a lot of people, when I ask this question in the various different webinars that I do, come back with similar responses. So, you know, you can see there not knowing what to post, dealing with imposter syndrome. That might be imposter syndrome in terms of you yourself being a coach and being afraid to kind of put yourself out there and tell people that this is what you're doing. It also might be imposter syndrome in terms of actually being a social media manager or a content creator and kind of not really feeling like you're doing what you should be doing. Obviously, keeping up to date, being confident, making sure that you're using it correctly and staying focused, you know, enjoying the process. These are all things that we all struggle with, and they're very common in terms of the responses that I get. Converting leads, getting leads, and actually seeing the impact of digital marketing are some other responses that have come across as well. So hopefully what I'll do is throughout the course of this presentation is give you some tips to be able to help you convert and help you enjoy the process a little bit more. Ultimately, there is a lot of different ingredients that go into your digital marketing strategy, okay? I often refer to like a cake analogy, a chocolate cake analogy, but there are so many different ingredients that we need to make the whole thing work. It's not just good enough to do one post and expect sales to come in. It's not good enough to do one campaign and expect sales to come in. It is a combination of using video and articles and SEO and managing and optimizing and investing in what it is that you're trying to achieve. It is essentially a whole other job that needs to be done. And people are employed all over the world in various different roles that you are now expected to do. So don't worry if you feel like you're a little bit maybe out of your depth. And there's still a lot of learning to do, because that's natural. With digital marketing, things move so fast within this space. As you'll see in the pandemic, the app TikTok has rose to glory and fame, and you know, billions of people around the world are using it. So much so that Trump is threatening now to ban it in America. And you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, none of us had even heard of TikTok, right? So it's about trying to keep up with the latest trends, but it's also about understanding that just because TikTok is now a really big platform, it doesn't necessarily mean that we as digital marketeers need to use that platform if our audience isn't there. So it's about understanding your audience, understanding where your audience are, and then it's about understanding how to target them. Essentially, your audience are your potential clients. Your audience are people who you want to know that you are a coach for various different reasons. That's who your audience is, and it's about establishing that and figuring out who they are as soon as you can. I think a lot of the clients that I work with and a lot of the people that I work with in terms of small businesses, and you will all know very well as coaches, sometimes the biggest person that's in our way is ourselves. We often stand in our way and tell ourselves repeatedly that we are not techie and we don't know anything about digital and we don't know anything about Facebook and doing a campaign is scary. All of those things, you know, stop us from moving forward and getting the most from our businesses. So I'm here today to tell you to get out of your own way and you know, really know that you're in the same boat as a lot of other people who are in small businesses, and it just takes repeated learning and repeated doing things so that you can improve and get better with every campaign and with every post and with every promotion that you put out there. You'll just get better and better the more that you do it. And so the most important thing is to start. So I asked the question if you had any previous experience in sales and marketing. Of the people who replied, 2 of you said yes, 2 of you said no, or 3 of you said no. So you know, again, as coaches, we are drawn to the profession because we love to help people, but it doesn't necessarily mean we come to the table with a lot of sales and marketing experience. However, you know, I suppose the number one thing to know about sales, and it's the most important thing, and I'm sure you've all heard of this, is that people buy people first. So you are the difference, okay? You are going to be the reason why someone is going to choose you as a coach as opposed to another coach. being authentic with the digital marketing that you put out there, you know, being real, being true to who you are, posting information that are relevant to your own story, to your own business, to successes that you've had with your clients, to potential niches that you might have within your business. That's what people want to know about. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and be personal and authentic with the content that you create, and with the messaging that you're putting out there as well, particularly when it comes to your website and when it comes to your own social channels, such as your LinkedIn page and your Facebook page. So being you, and that is first and foremost, you know, the #1 rule of sales and marketing. From a marketing and a digital marketing perspective, and as I say, I teach in a number of different universities, the very first lesson that I teach people at the very first day is to remember that we are all human, right? So if you are a human and you've ever bought something in a shop, you already know a huge amount about sales, okay? So you know about the buying and the selling process every day by actually putting in that buy-sell exchange. If you are human and you have a computer or a smartphone, then you already know a huge amount about digital media and marketing, because you are being marketed to every second that you're on your phone, right? So you see ads popping up, you see how you interact with ads, you see how other people interact with, you know what annoys you, you know what brings you joy in terms of being advertised to. So when you're doing your campaign, think like a human. How do you like to be marketed to? And once you start thinking like that, then everything will start to make a lot more sense. Oftentimes, and I've worked in advertising for a very long time, even the most senior marketeers don't often think like a human. They think like the brand, or they think like the campaign, or they think like the product. When in actual fact, we really need to start just taking a step back and thinking, actually, you know what, this isn't going to work because I don't think it's very good, and I don't think I'm going to buy this product for myself. So what do I need to do to make it more appealing to my potential customers? So we're just going to look at a definition around marketing. So marketing is the process by which companies create value for customers and build strong customer relationships in order to capture value from customers in return. So that is the definition as per Kotler and Armstrong. But it is just really important to see what we're talking about here is value. So value for customers by building those strong relationships. This is absolutely an amazing time in history to be running your own business, because you have, and in your fingertips, quite literally, an opportunity to build close customer relationships with your consumer by creating a value exchange through conversation, through posts, through your website. We just have a little bit of, I'm just going to mute people there. There's some... Just getting a little bit of feedback here from someone.
Olgeta and Lisa, if you put yourselves on mute, please.
Thank you very much.
Olgeta.
Okay, so what we're looking at here then is and to lead on from the definition is marketing, a little bit of marketing theory. For those of you who don't have the sales and marketing experience, it's just to explain why marketing is so important. So there's a core framework for marketing, which is the 7 Ps, okay? This grew from the 4 Ps, which was used up until really about the 90s, and then in sort of from the 90s onward, it grew into the 7 Ps. So the original 4 Ps were product, place, price, and promotion, okay? So yeah, so product, price, place, and promotion. They are the 4 Ps that a lot of marketing theory has been held on. So from your perspective, obviously your product is you. Your product is your coaching services, your mentoring services, and whatever niche that you find yourself in. Obviously, you want to ensure that you have a clear price point. That price can be put on your website or your social media platforms, or it's something that you can discuss and agree on a case-by-case basis with your individual clients. But also it's just important to know where you are positioned in the marketplace. and in terms of your competitors and things like that as well. Place, again, so this can be the place where you conduct your business. It could be the place where you hold your sessions, but it's also the place where people can come and find you, that be it your website or your social media platforms. Promotion is the promotion of your business via posts on social media or SEO on your website, and also your advertising campaigns. Physical evidence, if we were talking about Apple here, we'd be talking about the actual phone or the tablet. Physical evidence in this case is really you, yourself, how you put yourself forward, the imagery that you choose to use to promote yourself and your business, and how you then in turn present yourself when you are having your sessions. The process is how your coaching works, explaining that in a very clear, concise way for people who are unsure about how that might work. And then people, in this case, is you and your clients, and the various different network that you might have. When you're doing any of your campaigns and any of your marketing, these are the 7 things that you always need to consider. So when you are putting up a post or when you're creating a campaign, are all 7 P's being referred to or being taken care of in everything that you're doing, and just making sure that even in the background, if it's not, if you're not having your price in your ad, for example, that you are prepared for any of those questions that might come as a result of you doing that campaign. Okay, so just making sure you have the seven P's in there. On from that then, and from a digital marketing perspective, there are 6 channels that we would use to take that marketing theory forward. So we often, I'm sure a lot of you know, and I did ask that question, and most of you do all know what SEO is. So SEO is search engine optimization, and it's how people find your website. There's also email marketing, online advertising, word of mouth referrals, social media, and websites. Okay, so they are the sort of the 6 main channels that we as coaches can use on a regular basis in order to promote ourselves and our businesses. So I asked the question, if you have a website, and did you create it yourself, or did someone else create it for you? So of the 5 people who responded, the majority of you did have websites. 1 of you didn't. You had registered your domain and all of those things, but no one had created their website themselves. So everybody had a website created for them. So what I might do is just over the next few slides, just talk to you about how easy it is to actually create your own website. Should the opportunity for you to maybe take back control of your website from whoever potentially made it for you, and to just give you greater control and greater confidence when it comes to your website and your website creation. So how do you develop a website? So the first thing is your web hosting. So understanding which host, essentially, which is people like WordPress and Wix and Register 365. There's various different hosting platforms that you can choose to create your website. And the second then is domain registration. I did ask all of you, and you all had domains registered, which is fantastic. You then plan your website by creating all of your content that you want to put on your website, designing your website, choosing a template, and putting in your images and making sure all your pages connect, etc. Then there's testing and making sure that everything works and there's no bugs, and making sure that everything works across desktop and mobile. And then there's publishing your website, and then you monitor it. So with everything that we talk about here today, everything needs to be monitored and optimized for best performance, so that you're constantly working on this to make sure that everything you do is working as it should. Websites, as we know, are an essential component of any business, and they are to be used to provide your audience, to provide information to your audiences, and to provide you with potential clients. So choosing a domain name, if you haven't done so already, and you weren't some of the people who did the survey, there's companies like GoDaddy and Register 365 where you can go and register your domain. It's often advisable to register your own name if it's available, or your own name plus the word coaching, or a particular business name that you may have come up with. Choosing a .com or a .co.uk if you are UK based, .ie if you're Ireland based, wherever country that you might be in. If you want to work primarily in that country, choosing that domain name, but if a .com is available, it's always recommended. Consider search engines when choosing your name. So you want to make sure that if you do a Google search of your business name or your domain name, that, you know, A, it doesn't already exist, or it's not associated with a completely different type of company that you may not want to be associated with. It's just good to get an understanding of the different types of names that are already out there for coaching businesses, so that you can try to steal some ideas. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, so there's definitely opportunities to do that. You then, as I say, have a choice to build your own website or to hire a good agency to build it. Whatever it is that you choose, you want to make sure that you optimize your keywords, your SEO when having it built, and that you ensure that your site is mobile optimized. If you are creating a website now, or if you have in the last 2 years, for example, the website would be or should be automatically mobile optimized or mobile responsive, so that it means it changes shape for whatever device is being used on. If you have a much older website, it may be that your website does need to be updated to be mobile optimized, and so this is something that you could consider in terms of creating your new website, if that is something that you wanted to do. This is just an example of Register 365 domains. Oh, Google is talking to me. So you, so this is just an example. I wrote in the words bestcoachever.ie, and it's actually available. I probably should buy it and use it as a domain name. But you can see there, bestcoachever.co.uk is also available, and .online. So you can see the different ways in which you can register your domains. It's relatively inexpensive, so it's $5.99 for the entire year to register that domain name, and it'll throw in .co.uk for free for me if I wanted it. And then there's a number of different add-ons that you can do once you proceed to the basket. You can add on security emails, and you can add on a website builder onto that as well for you to be able to build your website. I just wanted to show you some examples of some websites I have built myself. Now, I would not be an expert in building websites by any means. I am a monkey see, monkey do person. I go into the different platforms and I click on different things and I drag and drop and see what happens. But this is my website, arianadunne.com. So this is the website I have for all of the different parts of my business and the different things that I do. This is the website that I created for my recruitment business, which again, you can see it's quite different. It's more corporate to my other one. This is the website that I created for my celebrancy business. I'm a celebrant to do weddings and baby naming ceremonies. So again, you can see it's much more picture-led and a bit more sort of friendly as opposed to being more corporate. And this is another website I created for another little business of mine that I have called Best Man Speech, which is a speech writing service. So all of these were created. They didn't take me a huge amount of time. Each one that I created took me less and less time than the first one I did, because I just got better and got more knowledgeable at knowing what I was doing. I mean, I think maybe the first one, all in all, maybe would have taken me 3 or 4 days to complete. This one I did in 1 hour and 45 minutes because it was so, you know, as I say, you just learn as you go, and you try different things, and it becomes much easier to create. Ultimately, with our websites anyway, we're not publishers, we're not people who want hundreds of thousands of people to come to our website on a daily basis because we're creating multiple stories or multiple pieces of content. Really what our websites are is a place, looking back at the 7 Ps, it's a place for you to direct people to if they want to learn more about your coaching business. It's also a place that you can direct people to via your social media or by any ad campaigns that you're doing. So it doesn't need to be super convoluted design jazzy. You know, you can have a very basic website that gives all the information that a person coming to your website is going to need, without too much fuss. So essentially, just to define your objective for your website, which is to provide information to your audience. Don't just give the information that you want to give, but try to anticipate what information a visitor to your site might be looking for. I myself know when I go onto a website, you know, if it's not mobile optimized and, you know, there isn't a call to action for me to click a phone number or to send an email, you know, that kind of annoys me a little bit. And it might make me kind of pop out of that website and not utilize it. If I'm going onto a website and I'm looking for prices particularly, and there's no prices, that again might annoy me a little bit. So just think like that about what information, and anticipate what information your visitors might be looking for. The website is to provide leads and for sales for your services. So creating a little form that people can fill out and that can ask a certain number of questions that will be sent to you is advisable. It's also about brand awareness and creating a brand for yourself, particularly if you have a niche that you might see yourself falling into. And then it's a place to also provide customer support and administration. So if you have various different worksheets or workshops, or if you have various different videos that you may have created in the past that you want people to access, your website should be able to help people do that for you as well. I hope everyone, I know everyone's on mute, so there's no point in me sort of asking if anyone has any questions, but if anyone does have any questions, there is a chat button up at the top, so please feel free to hit me a question, or if there's anything that you are unsure about, just let me know as well. So other considerations when you're creating your website is before creating any page, plan out which sections and pages are needed. So you generally have, you know, your about page and your services page. So just plan out those pages. Consider how the pages are going to relate to one another and achieve the overall website goal. You can use a storyboard approach to this if you want, when you can look at other coaching websites and try and draw some inspiration from that as well. Creating a wireframe, which is a simple representation of what your pages look like and how they're all connected, is advisable. As I mentioned before, you know, ensuring that it fits mobile and desktop and using attractive imagery are all really, really important. So a typical website layout would look like this. You have your homepage, your about, your services, your pricing, testimonials that you may have, and contact information. Really, that's all that you need. And I see so often people, you know, putting a block up for themselves in terms of going out there and promoting their business because they feel like that they have to have this big convoluted website, and it really it's not the case. There's a lot of information that can be gleaned from those 5 basic pages. This is just an example here in terms of, I just wanted to quickly show you, this is the website builder that I use, and it's via Register 365. You can see here, it's all very drag and drop. So I've highlighted in red there the way you can see desktop, tablet and mobile. I've highlighted in red here as well the call to action, which is the CTA, the inquiry box. But over here on the side, you can see here text, image, button, image slider, all of those things you literally just drag and drop over onto your page, and you can enter in all of your information, and it is incredibly easy to do. So, you know, I would recommend, even just for those of you who have already gotten your website built, potentially by somebody else, even creating a little test website for yourself that you can play around with. Years and years ago, you know, 20 years ago, when I first started working in digital, I had to create website writing out HTML code, which I don't recommend. It's a very long process, and if any of you are coders, I'm sure you'll understand, but it's literally line by line, code by code. That's not the case anymore. It could not be easier to create your own website and to create your own campaigns. All of these companies want your money, okay? So they've made it as easy as possible for you to do this. So I'd highly recommend having a little play around. In terms of cost, it shouldn't be extortionate. So a DIY website, a domain is about €5 per year. Your web hosting may be about €13 per month. If you wanted to pay a designer to do it, it should be any more than €250, or an agency can be anywhere between $250 and $5,000, depending on what it is. So yeah, I've just had someone mention here, totally agree, it's very easy and it helps them to stay up to date with their website without any hassle. So thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. It is very, very easy, and it gives you full control over your website. So I highly recommend it. So that brings us on to SEO, okay? Because once you've built your beautiful website and you've created all your lovely content and your pages look wonderful, etc., it's then important to look at your SEO, which is how people find you through your search engine optimization, okay? So what is SEO? For those of you who don't know, it's the process of growing the quality and quantity of website traffic by increasing the visibility of a website or a web page to users of a web search engine. SEO refers to the improvement of unpaid results and excludes direct traffic and the purchase of paid placement. So essentially it's what we call organic traffic to your website. Primarily, I'm going to talk about Google. There may be some people out there who use Yahoo or Bing a lot more, but I think, you know, universally, Google is the website that we talk about when we look at search engines. From a perspective in terms of channels and SEO, obviously this is what we have here. So we've got your content over on the left-hand side, which is your website and all the lovely content that you've created. What happens then is that an audience searches for coach or career coach, life coach, relationship coach, mentor, coach in the UK, whatever it might be, all of these different search terms that somebody enters into when they are looking to find a coach. SEO then kicks in, which is essentially that search engine has millions of these little robots that go out into the internet and scan millions and millions of pages in what's known as an algorithm, essentially. And what they do is they try to identify those search terms within the web, and they try to return the best SERP, which is a search engine results page, to the user. Okay, and there are various different tools that people use to ensure that this is working to the best of its ability, and I'll talk about one of them now in a second. But in terms of what you can control in terms of your SEO, they are broken into three main areas. So there's on-page SEO, technical SEO, and then off-page or off-site SEO. What you need to do is combine the best of this for the best results. Now, I will reiterate again, in this 90 minutes, I'm scanning and skimming the surface on a lot of the things that I'm talking about here, because I actually, as I said, you know, I teach this and I would spend an entire 2 hours, 3 hours just talking about search engine optimization in some of my other classes, right? So we really are skimming the surface here. But technical SEO basically ensures that your website can be found easily, accessed, crawled by those little bots, and indexed by search engine spiders. Essentially what technical SEO is about, making sure that the background of your website is working. So if you can imagine, if you built a house but you didn't build any doors or stairs, that would be very difficult to navigate around the website, around the house, and that's what the technical SEO is looking for. It's making sure that your website is you know, is built correctly, and that all of the pages link, that everything is working. What they don't want to do, essentially, Google are very proud of the business that they've built. So as a user of their search engine, they don't want to return a page to you which is broken or which is not actually working. So what technical SEO does is make sure that the website is an easily found website, that everything looks good and is created properly on the background. On-page SEO does what it says on the tin. It's everything that's on the page, okay? So it's optimizing the code and content for each page of your website to meet search engine standards and indicate the relevancy of your pages in relation to certain search phrases. So all of the content that you have on there, you can ensure that you have about 30 to 50 keywords, essentially. So you want to make sure that you have things like coach and mentor and, you know, goal setting and objectives and, you know, help and advice and navigating and all of those different words that we use when we talk about coaching and mentoring. And those are the keywords that you want to make sure that you put into your SEO box when you are creating your website, so that essentially what happens here is a little piece of code gets created when you create your keywords, and that lives on the top of your page and in the background. So when Google are sending their bots out, they look for these little shortcuts. So if they can find that little piece of code where you have created those keywords, it helps them to be quicker at their job and to serve better better search engine results pages. So the more you help these little robots to do their job properly, the more they'll help you to ensure that your SEO is effective. Okay, so these are all little tips and tricks, but essentially making sure that your website, what Google don't want to do is, if you are promoting yourself as a coach, and then, or if for example, if you say that you're going to do a competition where people can win €1 million, and they come to your website and find that you're actually trying to flog your coaching business, Google aren't going to like that either. Okay, so they make sure that you're being truthful and authentic with your content by looking at that. And then lastly is the off-page SEO. And this is the one that we kind of have a lot of control over in terms of making sure that our SEO improves. And this is all activities outside of your website, such as building content and links, which in turn improve your website's positioning. So the more that you can get your website referred to by other companies, by other websites, the more that you can put your URL across social media, across LinkedIn. What Google look for here is that if they see 100 different websites all referring people to your website, then they think, okay, well, this must be a good website, this must be an authentic website, because it is being referred to and it is being talked about a lot on other people's pages. So this is what we call backlinks. Okay, so this is essentially a backlink. Okay, and if the best way to do this is to ask. Again, people say, oh my God, I don't know how I'm supposed to get my page on other people's pages. You ask, you basically let it be known that you are a coach, and you have to offer them something. So would you like me to write an article for your website that gives you some CV tips for your users? Would you like me to create something for you that helps your business in some way? So, doing collaborations with different companies, influencers, any of your clients potentially who have been happy with the results that you've had, if they have a way of being able to recommend you across any of their platforms, etc. All of these things help towards your off-page SEO and your backlinks and your PR essentially. I had a question there from someone, sorry, that just asked, how do you know if your website can be crawled by the SEO spiders? Any website can be crawled by the SEO. So essentially, if you are a website and you're published and you're live, then what Google does is they will go out and try and find the best search engine for that. So in terms of your website being created, it's going to be new. It's going to be really hard, no matter what, to get to the top of those SEO rankings, because there have been so many different pages and so many different coaches who come before you, if you are new to this business potentially, who've been working on their SEO, working on their technical on-page, off-page SEO for years. Probably if you were to look for a coach, Tony Robbins would come up, or Bob Proctor, some of these well-known coaches who have the monopoly on kind of SEO at the moment. But if you Google your own name, if you Google my name, for example, Ariana Dunne, I am the first 5 pages of Google results that come up, right? So all of my websites, anywhere that I've ever been mentioned on the internet, come up, and that's what Google is looking for. So they're sending out their SEO spiders, and every website that's out there is at the mercy of those spiders, as is yours. It's just that when someone searches for a coach, yours may not be the first one that comes up, because all those other people have really been doing their technical on-page and off-page SEO for a few years longer than you. SEO is one of those things that people often talk about as being hugely important. It is certainly for very large multinational businesses. It's definitely really important. For smaller businesses, the best way for you to get people to your website really is to promote yourself across social media channels, and to promote yourself with paid advertising for the moment. The more you do that, the more clients you get, the more people are talking about you, the more backlinks you will get, and it all happens from there, right? So it's about building upon your business, and your SEO will in turn then build with you. It's not a magic pill, I'm afraid. Just to show you as well, so this is just to look at the the website that I created. Okay, so you have on the page here, you have all of your content essentially, but when you go to settings, site settings, you'll see there's a little SEO tab, and in that SEO tab, this is where you put in all of your keywords. This is what I was talking about when I was talking about the little piece of code that helps those bots. All right, again, a lot of people don't necessarily know that this is here, so when they're creating their website, they create all these lovely words on their page, but then they don't actually look at kind of the back end settings. So you can see here, you might have to move closer to your screen, but you have here your site title. This is for my Celebrancy website, so weddings, baby namings, vow renewals, ceremonies, these are all the different things that you want to put in there, and you can see that the max word characters on that is 60. So that's your site title, and that's what is displayed and previewed when a search engine result is returned. Then you have your site description. And again, it's about 320 or 160 characters that you can put in there describing your site. And then further down the page there is your site keywords, and they are, as I said, about 30 to 50 keywords. You don't want to put too little, but you don't want to put too much either, which would dilute the process if you have too many keywords in there as well. So for any of you who create your own websites, just make sure that you go in and you check that your SEO is up to date. For all of you who have websites, you can also use various different site SEO audit sites. Okay, and so this one here that I've used is SEO Optimer, but you can see there on the right hand side there's a number of different ones: Brewwank, website.grader.com, semrush.com. They're all free, and essentially what you do is you open it up, you enter in your website details, and it will return a very comprehensive free report for you, showcasing to you how successful your SEO currently is on your website. So you can see there my Best Man Speech website.ie speech website received a B. My SEO was good, my usability was good, my social needed to be better because I hadn't actually put any social links on the page at that time. So you can see there, that is what it will show you in terms of helping you to improve. It gives you a full PDF report actually, that gives you a number of ways. So you can see there in the red box, it has number of recommended improvements 13, and what it does is actually gives you a full rundown of what those 13 improvements are, so that you can go back to your website and make sure that the SEO improves. So would highly recommend all of you checking out your SEO audit sites and seeing how your websites are, and it's completely free. You can then pay them. Of course, all these companies up for money, you can then pay them and have a premium account if you want, and they'll fix all of those things for you, and they'll continually monitor and make sure that your SEO is all doing good. And like I say, there's a lot of companies out there all willing to help you with your digital marketing if that's something that you want to do. I just have a quick question here. Oh, thank you, Louisa. It's complimenting the presentation. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go on to social media. Okay, so that is the face that a lot of people have when we talk about social media management. Okay, this very fearful, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do, all of these different social media platforms coming flying at us. I think it's really, really important to ensure that when you are a business, you only worry about the social media platforms that you need to worry about that are relevant for your business, and forget about every other one. Okay, do not feel like you need to be on every social media platform, because actually that could be detrimental to you and your business if you try to do that. So I asked the question in the survey, which social media platforms you use for your coaching mentoring business. Luckily for me and my presentation, the results corresponded to what I have. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, everybody seems to be on LinkedIn for their business, which is correct considering we are coaches, and a lot of the time it's business, corporate, coaching. That can often be a good place where we find people from a life coaching or relationship coaching or any of that perspective. Facebook and Instagram are definitely the best platforms to be on. Really no need for any of us to be on Snapchat, TikTok, Pinterest, or any of those other ones, because they generally would be irrelevant for us and our businesses. Okay, so once you do decide where your audience is, now listen, If you were trying to target teenagers, and if you had some workshops for coaching young people, maybe TikTok and Snapchat would be a good place for you to be, right? So let me just reiterate that. Once you know where your audience are, that's where you need to be, okay? So deciding on what platforms to use is important. Once you've decided, you then create your profile, you build your network, which is the most really important, and a lot of people forget that, but it's really needed to build your network. You then create a story, you update regularly, be useful, engage, and then update and refresh. So we had the 7 P's earlier on when we talked about marketing. We had the 6 channels, and now we have the 7 steps. And you know, this is being recorded. And, you know, please refer back to this. But just make sure with all of your social media that these things are, these steps are all completed in order for it to be successful. So with LinkedIn, or you know, this is to create a LinkedIn profile, but it's similar for any of the other platforms. Create your profile, choose a perfect picture, a clear face, a head on, smiling, looking straight into the camera, well groomed, generic backgrounds. These are the things that are really important, because as I mentioned when we talked about sales, the most important thing is that people buy people first. So people want to make sure that when they are buying your services from you, that they get a sense of who you are and how professional you are through your picture. Unfortunately, I still see, and I work, as I say, I have my own recruitment company, so I'm on LinkedIn a lot, and I see a lot of pictures that don't fit that criteria, okay? So, you know, please ensure that your picture is well groomed, smiling, and very clear. You want to complete all the fields. LinkedIn awards you as being an all-star on LinkedIn, on their LinkedIn page, if you complete all of these different fields that they want you to complete. Remember that for the purposes of your coaching business, this is a services page. It's not an online CV. So in your previous worlds, I don't know what all of you did potentially before becoming coaches, or maybe you all became coaches from school, who knows, but potentially you had other jobs before this, and often LinkedIn was used then as an online CV for people to try and find you, or for you to share your information with potential employers. Now it's a services page, so it's a way for you to attract business. So you want to make sure that you have information on there that actually shows you as a service and not an online CV. So for example, this is my LinkedIn page. So my picture across the top very clearly showcases the coaching and mentoring side I do, the training in terms of the teaching that I'm, you know, geared towards success and helping people find direction in their lives. My tagline underneath my name says that I help people at a crossroads choose their next path through life and business coaching, recruitment, and lecturing. Okay, so a very clear statement in terms of what my intent is and what are the different areas that I can help people in. So ensuring that you have a 1 or 2 sentence clear statement under your name for when people coming to you, that they can find out what it is that they can get from you as well. Obviously, in your about information, you can talk about your past experience and all of the different things that you did, or you can talk about what you're doing in the future. So you can talk about your intent as a coach and what you hope to be able to do to help people in terms of making sure that they achieve their goals and things like that. Obviously, you know, you can see there I have my further learning group, my Mindstream accredited coaching up there at the top. This is in terms of any further training that you might do in your career as a coach. Constantly add that so that people can come and see. Also, I have about 14 or 15 testimonials on my LinkedIn page from various different people throughout my career, which is really helpful when people are coming and wondering about the authenticity of me and my services, that they can really see testimonials from people on LinkedIn, and it shows their image and all of that. Again, you have to ask for that. Sometimes people give it to you out of the goodness of their heart, but that rarely happens because we're all very busy these days, and who has time to be going around writing testimonials off the goodness of our heart? So if you have done you know, a really good coaching session, or if you've had some really successful clients and you wouldn't mind sending them an email and saying, you know, it would be really grateful if you could write a testimonial for me. Most people are happy to do it if they have had a good outcome, and it really will help you moving forward in terms of getting more business. And you can also then, you know, with their permission, but you know, if they do the testimonial for you, it's out there, but you could use that testimonial on your website, on your testimonials page as well. So you can see here how everything ties into the one, right? So then with the Facebook page, creating and Facebook and Instagram, you know, they're owned by the same company, right? So when I talk about Facebook and Instagram, it's kind of the two things. But yeah, you can create a Facebook business page. If you haven't already done so, you open your private Facebook page, and on the top banner of your personal page, you'll see an icon that says create, get started, and there's a business option. You follow the really simple instructions from there, okay? What you do is, again, similar, you choose your photo that represent your business well, identify the action that you want people to take when they come to your page, i.e. call you, send you a message, learn more about what it is that you do. And so, you know, making sure that you have the correct call to actions and the different add-ons are really important for your business as well. I asked the question, do you use Facebook Business Manager? 4 of you said no, 1 of you said yes. Again, this is the thing that a lot of people don't really know about sometimes. Facebook Business Manager is just a really simple tool for you to manage your posts, your boosting of your posts, your campaigns, your content, your published content, your scheduled content, all of that. So essentially, in order to get to Business Manager, what you do is, little red page in the top left-hand corner there, you just type the word business.facebook.com and hit return. And essentially what will open up then is, if you are already logged on to Facebook, when you just write in the word business.facebook.com and you hit return, this will open up, okay? So normally, you know that Facebook is bright blue in colors. This is actually a gray page here. And it says, you know, over in the right-hand corner there, Ariana Dunne's business page. But you can see there, you know, it gives me lots of different access. It gives me a lot more access to my business page in terms of my, as I said, the scheduled posts, the drafts, videos, all of the different tools that I might need. It shows me my different post engagements and the dates that I have posted posts, how well that they've done, etc., etc. So, you know, please use Facebook Business Manager. Again, it's a free tool to use. Question here. Thank you. Again, it wasn't a question, it was just some positive feedback, which is good. So yeah, so basically this will really help you manage your social media on Facebook much more easily. Now, also, when you're using a Facebook Business Manager, it allows you to publish on Instagram and things like that too. So everything that you create, it's like you just have to do it once, and then it creates the different ads for you across Instagram and across Facebook, and it asks you if you want them to be in feed, in stories, in carousels. It's all really simple. Again, I'm skimming the surface here. I do offer a course where I teach a lot more in-depthly about this in terms of helping you to create the best type of ads for your business as well. But this certainly will go one step towards helping you navigate a better way of doing things across your Facebook Manager. Sorry, 1 second. Went too fast there. Yeah, so okay, so the next step then is, once you have established your page, is to build your network. I can't emphasize this enough, how important this is, particularly on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn allows you to add as many people as you want into your network, okay? And I often find with people that I'm talking to in relation to this is that they'll say, you know, like, so I built my page, but I don't have anyone on it, no one sees it, I don't have a very big network, I don't know the people, how am I supposed to add people if I don't know them? With LinkedIn, add everyone, okay? So go on to, so if there's a particular niche that you have, or if there's a particular area that you're in, or if there's a particular coach that you admire, sorry, a quick question. Someone asked, is it possible to transfer business-related friends on your personal page to a new business page? No, it isn't. You have to invite them, so they still have to like your business page. When you're on your business page, though, there is an option for you to invite your network. Okay, so if you have a private network, your business page does get the option for you to invite all of these different people into your network. My recommendation there with that is as well, is that if someone invites you to like their page, the more pages that you like and the more engagement that you have and the more back scratches that you scratch, and the more that it will be returned to you as well. Okay, so so you can invite your connections from your personal page by your business page, but you can't just automatically transfer. That would contravene kind of like GDPR stuff. You know, people do still have to opt into liking a page. I hope that answers your question. So to okay, thank you. Okay, so to connect and build your network, add everyone. It doesn't matter in the silence if you don't know them, just add them. Go onto my page, add all my contacts. You know, I mean, there's if you have a niche within the healthcare industry, the motoring industry, the media industry, the mental health industry, there's so much access to be able to find all of these different people via LinkedIn, and just adding them. So what happens then is, at the moment, I have 6,500 connections on my LinkedIn page, because I've just been adding and adding and adding people all the time, sitting on the bus or the tram, bringing your phone to the bathroom. You know, there's lots of people say they don't have much time to do things, but there is loads of time in the day when you're sitting down watching television in the evening, and you can get your phone out and you can just add lots and lots of people. Because what happens then is your posts get seen by not only your first connections, which is the people that have accepted your ad, but it will also get seen by their connections and their connections. Okay, so if someone who is a first connection likes your post, all of their connections will then see it, and if one of them likes that post, then all of their connections will see it. So your reach is expanding and expanding all of the time. I got 5 new coaching clients last week from a post that I put up on LinkedIn. I didn't put any spend behind it, and 2 of the people were people who I'm not connected to. They were people who are connected to someone else who liked my post, right? So one of them was in New York, and I'm going to be coaching them from next week, and another one was in Ireland, right? So it's really simple and easy way to get your post seen by just creating this large network for yourself. So really, everyone's goal should be adding at least 100 people to their connections a week, right? You know, if you set that as a goal for yourself, that is something that you can easily achieve. What you also do is follow relevant and other exciting companies and competitors as well, because it's good to see what other people are doing, what other posts people are putting out there. It's good to be inspired by people within your network as well, and often seeing somebody else's post will encourage you to create a post for yourself as well. So making sure that you have as wide a network as possible is really important. So once you've built your network, obviously you want to create stories for your audience, for those people that are within your network. So there's 4 key principles to consider when building your campaigns. Okay, so you've got stories and facts, atomized content, thumb-friendly content, content franchises. And it's important to remember that when we talk about content, we talk about all that content encompasses. Okay, so it could be just plain text in terms of the post, and imagery. It could be articles that you write, videos that you create or videos that you share, GIFs, infographics. It could be quizzes, demos, surveys, polls, newsletters. That is all content. Okay, so this is where we talk about content creation, content management, and creating those stories. So to make your brand memorable, start with a story. And remember what I said, people buy people first. Be authentic, be you, share a story with your audience, share a success that you've had, you know, share a struggle that you've had. Often people really like that, to know what you might be struggling with, particularly as a coach. You know, this is our job, is to help people and help to identify with people. Remember to share your personal moments and make the most of it by telling stories that resonate with who they are in terms of your audience and who you are as well. Atomized content means creating high quality stories that resonate, that are part of a whole, but can also stand alone, okay? So you don't need to post multiple times a day, or even every day, but while your brand will determine how often you should be posting, don't overload your audience. Focus on quality over content, okay? So atomized content means a little piece of who you are, or what it is that you're trying to sell, or the relationship that you're trying to build. Remember that LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram is not about the hard sell. It's about creating a relationship with your audience. Sometimes there are customers who have come to me, clients that have come to me, you know, weeks and months after they may have seen my first post. But the more that I post these atomized pieces of content, the more that they get to understand what it is that I'm doing, what it is that I'm about, and then they come to me when they're kind of good and ready. You don't really want to be sort of hard selling yourself on LinkedIn. You want to create a story about who you are and how you can help people. Thumb-friendly content. So this is in terms of getting people to stop and see your content, okay? You have to become aware that our thumbs are remote controls, and they stop and fast forward. So to stop the thumbs from scrolling past your ad or your post, use sight, sound, and motion to engage your audience. So a good imagery, a good video, whatever it is that it might be, in order to actually get people to stop. You yourself, you know, do a little bit of audience research on yourself. You know, spend some time actually being conscious of your scrolling through your LinkedIn feed or through your Facebook feed. What is it that makes you stop and look? What is it that grabs your attention? And once you start to create a little bit of market research around that, it'll help you to make sure that what you put out there is going to be something that people are going to be interested as well. Make sure that you have compelling and captivating images, or eye-catching videos that people would be interested in looking at. And the last then is just content franchises. So they have three common elements. They are thematically linked, ownable, and repeatable. So think like a 90s sitcom like Seinfeld or Friends. Week after week, the stories were different, but the characters and the settings were the same. So, you know, you could decide to create a 6-series content franchise around coaching, or around your workshops, or around your business, or, you know, these are my six steps to help you find a new job. These are my 6 steps to help you goal set, whatever it might be. So step 1 will be one post, and then you might do step 2 the next day or the following week, or whatever it is. So it becomes a franchise, essentially, that you're drawing people back to your page or back to your site all of the time to see what the other 6 steps might be that they may have missed. So these are all different tips and tricks of things that you can do to get people. So once you've decided then on the different types of content you're going to create, you want to make sure that you update regularly. So again, written, visual, video, whatever it might be, you want to make sure that you set a pace. So whether it be once a day, once a week, once a month, but be consistent in your delivery, okay? So there's no point in you posting loads of stuff one week and then disappearing for 2 months and then coming back. Be consistent, decide the pace at which you're going to post, and then try and do that to the best of your ability. People often say they don't have time. You know, time is of the essence, and I completely appreciate that. So there are some tips and tricks that you can do to help you. So one of them is a content calendar. So I asked a few of you if you had used content calendars. 2 of you said yes. 2 of you said no. 1 of you said, what is a content calendar? That's perfectly fine. A lot of people, again, don't know about this because, ladies and gentlemen, to reiterate, you know, you weren't expected to be digital marketeers when you became coaches, you know. If you don't have any experience in this, there's no possible way that you could know any of this stuff, right? So again, it's about not beating yourself up about it, but it's about understanding that now moving forward, these are different things you can do. This is a very simple Excel spreadsheet that I created of an example of a content calendar. This is again for my celebrancy business. I teach this module and this webinar to my celebrancy business people as well. So that's why there's a mix of coaching and celebrancy stuff in here. But this is an example, right? So you can see here for the month of July, in the top right hand corner there, I have a key, which are all of the different things that I might be able to post about as a celebrant. So my weddings, baby namings, funerals, whatever it might be. And then as I go through the days of the week and the month there, I plan out when I'm going to post about those different things across different platforms. All right, so it just helps me to plan out, you know, once a month, to sit down and go, okay, on Tuesday I'm going to post about baby namings, on Wednesday I'm going to post about the funerals, on Thursday I'm going to post about vow renewals, whatever it might be, and you mix it up so that, you know, people who are interested in weddings aren't getting, you know, wedding content every single day of the week. It might be a week or two between it, but it just basically allows me a way of being able to create a content calendar. So you can see here then as well, again, very simple Excel sheet. And you can see here what I have, again, is my campaign name. So I've got my baby namings, and I have it written out by day. And then what I have here, so you can see at the bottom, so this is my updates, right, for Facebook. So what you can write out here is the time of the day, the date, and also the message. So you can write all of that out, copy and paste it in here, or you can write it all in here and copy and paste it into your LinkedIn. And over here then I have the image that I've chosen to accompany that text. Once I've actually posted, then I can then put the link in here so I can see, you know, year upon year how I'm improving on my social media. So a lot of people, as I say, feel like they don't have the time. If you can sit down one day, 1 month, 1 day of the month, and plan out your content calendar and plan out your updates, it's 1 day that will take you from 9 in the morning until 5:30. There's no doubt about it. It can take a long time for you to gather your imagery and choose the messaging. But once it's done, and you can sit back and relax and you don't have to worry about it, other than monitoring it and making sure that it's performing and that everything is going well. You can see here, again, what we have across the top. Obviously, we've got the day, the date, the time, the message, the link, the campaign, and then, oops, across the bottom there, again, simple Excel. So we have schedule, monthly planning calendar, content repository. That's where you can pop things that you see that are interesting from your feed. You might want to pop in there in terms of things that you want to do in future dates. And then you have, you know, your Twitter, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Instagram. You've got your different tabs across the bottom of the different posts that you're going to pop up. Often some of the questions that I get asked is it okay to post the same content across all of my channels? The short answer is no. The long answer is yes, if you have to. But ideally, what you're doing is you're creating different messaging for each of your different platforms, because all of those different platforms have different uses. We know that Instagram is an image-based platform. Facebook is primarily a more personal, family, friends platform. Twitter is more text-based, as we know, and then LinkedIn is much more from a corporate, professional environment. So you ideally want to tailor your content that you're putting out for each of those different platforms. And you don't necessarily want any of your followers who follow you across all 4 platforms to feel like you're being a little bit lazy by actually just posting the same content across all 4 or 5 of your platforms. Of course, you know, if we don't have time, it's okay to do that. But, you know, ideally not all of the time that you're doing that, and that you are creating bespoke pieces of content, which get easier if you do it with a content calendar. There are other businesses out there, as I keep mentioning. There's a business for everything that we want to do to make our lives easier. Hootsuite, I'm sure you've heard of, but there are lots of different companies, whether it be HubSpot, SEMrush, etc. They offer you a way for you to do a similar thing. So you can see here, I manage some social media platforms for some other companies. So you can see here, I can actually have all of my different networks, my different pages. I can create my posts. I can have them scheduled all out throughout the day. And I can monitor them in terms of how they are, their analytics and things like that. Hootsuite costs 49 euros per month. I highly recommend it if it's something that you want to be able to do, because what you can do is you can add in your Instagram, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Facebook, and you can manage it for multiple businesses. If you are someone who has multiple businesses like myself, you can actually use it very, very effectively for 50 quid a month. I'd highly recommend doing that. Step 4, we're still on step 4, which is updating regularly. So don't post so much that you begin to annoy people, or so little that people forget about you. Okay, so make sure, again, think like a human, and if there's anyone out there that you think posts too much, don't post as much as they do, but also you don't want people to forget about you. Keep your word count to a minimum, and don't be overly boast or have long posts that people won't want to engage with, and make sure that you use good images and graphs to accompany your posts as well. Do you schedule your posts on social media? 3 of you said no, 2 of you said yes. Again, then no wonder this is taking you a very long time to do, because you know it's really difficult to come every day to schedule posts or to put posts up. It can be quite cumbersome. However, if one day a month you sit down and you schedule your posts, so again, if we're going back into LinkedIn Messenger, with Hootsuite you can schedule your LinkedIn posts. You can schedule LinkedIn posts via LinkedIn, but you can do it on Hootsuite, funnily enough. But with Facebook, for example, so you can see here back in your Facebook Manager on the left hand side where it says posts, scheduled posts, you go into your content calendar, you copy the text that you've written out and the image, you bring it over, you pop it in, and then you choose the date. So you can see here on the right hand side for this particular example, I had posts scheduled on the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th of July, going out at different times of the day. And you know, while I was off shopping or you know having a coaching client or doing something else, my social media was working for me in the background, because I had scheduled all of these posts and they were all up and live, right? So if you can figure out a way of creating your content calendar and scheduling your posts, it will make your life so much easier. Okay, so just wanted to show you, I'm just conscious of time, just want to show you very quick some examples of some posts that I put out. So, you know, I'm so happy, got the news yesterday that a coaching client of mine got a job offer. This client was made redundant. We had 4 sessions together, and, you know, they got their desired outcome despite the global pandemic. That's the power of coaching, okay? So I have my little hashtags in there that I often include, hashtag coaching, hashtag love what you do, hashtag power. You can do a hashtag for anything you want. Hashtags are just a good way of people joining in the conversation or finding out what's going on. So, you know, you can see there I've got various different likes and comments across that post, and actually from that post I got 2 pieces of business. 2 of the people that post was just from last week, and so of the 5 coaching clients that I got last week, 2 of them were as a result of that post, right? So very free and easy way of getting business for myself. So important to be useful. Again, step 5, offer help, advice, free consultations, ceremony tips, coaching tips, ultimately post updates that people will engage with and find helpful. Share your knowledge, anecdotes, learnings, share and repost other people's posts that you find to be useful, because they will likely then share yours as well. Limit pro bono work to create a sense of exclusivity, but use it to generate leads as well. So if you want to offer your coaching services, your free consultation service, all of those kinds of things, regularly pop that out there as well. Again, just some examples of the different things that I post. So I recently contributed to a book about Billie Eilish called Be Bad Be Bold Be Billie. You can see there Ariana Dunne, Dublin-based coach. So what I did was I actually contributed to that book, helping young adults to figure out what it is that they want to do in life. I post that on my LinkedIn. Again, it shows something that I'm doing. It shows some sort of authenticity. It shows something, a new area of the business that I'm able, and it's that thumb-friendly content. It's eye-catching. This is a post that I put up about an article that I was involved in that was written about me on a website called Rogue Collective, about my multi-hyphenate career and me being a coach. Again, this all goes back to the backlinks. This article linked to my business, and you know, it's about, again, showcasing your authenticity or showcasing your experience in your business as well. This is an article that I wrote for another website, irishcountrymagazine.ie, where I helped create some top tips for creating your CV. And you know, that went out during the pandemic when a lot of people were on furlough or being made redundant, etc. This is another post, so you can see there 5,000 views. There's no spend behind this post. This is all because of the large network that I've built from adding people into my network, and that's where those 5,000 plus views have, you know, come from. And this is a post about me saying that I found it hard delivering news to candidates that they didn't get their job, because I don't have much experience with it. Because of all the people that I've sent for jobs, 18 have gotten the job out of the 22. it's about clever wordplay. So it's about kind of promoting yourself while not promoting yourself, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like talking about what you're finding difficult, whilst also kind of showcasing your successes. This was a really successful post of mine in terms of returning business. I got a lot of people contacting me as a result of this, and I got some paying clients and some new candidates from it as well, right? So again, a really cheap, easy, and effective way of posting content on your LinkedIn. This is an article that I wrote called "Enough is Enough, You Are More Than Enough." And this came out of doing limiting belief exercises with some of my clients, and I found it really surprising that numerous of my coaching clients, their limiting belief was they weren't enough, I'm not enough. So I wrote this article. So these are articles that you can write on LinkedIn, you can share them, you can send them to people. Again, it's just about being diverse with the content that you're putting out there in terms of the imagery. This is a video that I created. I've put up multiple videos on my LinkedIn. I know a lot of people balk at the idea of posting videos on their platforms, but this is a really effective way of getting your message across. This video was 2.5 minutes, probably a bit long. I recommend a video being no more than 2 minutes, really, a minute and a half ideally. And again, you know, this was rounding off an amazing week with a little bit of confidence. This was, again, part of my coaching and offering some tips and advice to people. And, you know, the best thing that I can say about videos is just do it. Just, you know, plan out what you're going to say, rehearse what you're going to say in your head, stand in front of the window, because that natural light is going to make you look the best. You know, feel confident with what it is that you're saying. Try not to write it down and read it. You know, you again, people by people first. Be authentic, be you. Give a little bit of love, give a little bit of information to people via a video. People like it. The other thing that I will say is, you know, oftentimes we can, you know, that thing that I mentioned, stop, get out of your own way. We can stop ourselves from growing our businesses by being a little bit afraid of what people might say about us. In the 3 years that I've been in business, with every piece of content that I've put up, I've not had one single negative comment at all. In fact, it's the opposite. I get people praising me and congratulating me for doing what I do and for being brave and posting about my business. People love to see people succeed. They love to see people doing well and doing good in their careers. So, you know, by any means, as coaches, you're in a wonderful profession, so really shout about it from the rooftops, and create videos and create content as much as you possibly can. Step 6 is to engage, like, share, comments, be active across your social media platforms, give love to everybody else and they will give it back. And step 7 is to update and refresh. So make sure that you update your profile, add in any new information, any new training courses or experience that you might have, and make sure that you refresh your imagery often. And make sure that you're doing that. And then I'm just going to quickly go into the Google ad and Facebook ads. So it's really good to do campaigns. Google and Facebook offer free online training courses on how to use their ads. Obviously, they want you to spend as much money with them as you possibly can, so they'll make it as easy as possible. When you create your Facebook or your Instagram pages and your LinkedIn pages, there will be an option then for you to be able to create ads. So you want to create your objective, understand what it is that you're trying to achieve with your campaign. In most cases, it's going to be leads, converting leads, getting people to your website, driving traffic, etc. But you can also, boost your posts, increase brand awareness, get video views, collect leads, get people to come to a webinar. All different reasons as to why you might actually create a campaign. And I asked the question which platforms you've used. A lot of you said that you haven't used any, but some of you have used Google, Facebook. Interestingly, nobody has used LinkedIn. Despite all 5 people being on LinkedIn for their business, no one has actually used LinkedIn as a paid for platform. But you know, all of these different platforms are really, really a great way to get your business out there. Google AdWords is a very common one. It's very, very easy to use. Again, some people balk at the idea of creating a campaign. They don't know what say they don't know what they're doing. A 4-year-old, and I really, really mean this, if any of you out there have any 4-year-olds and you ask them to create a Google campaign, they will be able to do it because it's that easy. It's incredibly step-by-step. You start your advertising in 3 easy steps here. Once you select what your goal is, you then create your ad, and again, Google take your hand all the way through the process because they want your ad to be successful so that you come back and spend more with them. This is what it looks like on Facebook. Again, very, very simple. Asks you the question step by step. What is it that you're trying to achieve? Boost your post, promote your page, get more leads, and it takes you on a step-by-step process. Again, I'm skimming the surface here. I do go into more details about this in the different courses that I offer. With every campaign that you do, it's really important that you keep an eye and optimize. So you can see here, you know, this is a post that I post. I spent €10. I had 4,500 reach. I got 351 post engagements. I got 2 pieces of business out of it. Very well invested $10 there. But you can see this is the type of results that get shown to you when you go into your insights, and it shows you how much you spend, how much engagement there was, how many messages, so that you can continually improve upon your posts. I asked the question, how much money do you spend per month? 3 of you said no money. 1 of you said less than 300, and 1 of you didn't answer. But no money is not going to get you business, unfortunately. We have to invest in our business in order to get a return on investment, okay? So think about what your ROI might be. Think about what your return on investment might be. If you spend €100 and you get 1 business client, and you know, depending on how much you charge, but if you get 1 business client and they pay you €450 for 3 sessions, then you've gotten a €350 return on investment. Okay, so if I said to you, I'll give you 1 bottle of wine and you'll give me 4 bottles of wine back, that would be a really good deal, right? So, you know, thinking about your return on investment is a much better way of looking at your spend, and understanding, you know, my brother is the global Facebook channel manager for a Forex company in Cyprus. His budget that he has to spend on Facebook ads for his company is €300,000 a month that he spends on Facebook ads, €300,000 a month. But in return, my brother's been working there for 1.5 years, and what he has done for them in that 1.5 years has meant 60 million euros worth of revenue from that, you know, 200,000 a month. So if you look at if they're spending 2 million a year on ads, but they're getting 60 million value in return, then that's a really good value, a really good return on investment. There are companies out there spending millions on ads, you know, Facebook ads. I often find when new people start out in business and they don't do any advertising, it surprises me, because to someone who's worked in sales and advertising for many years, if you think of 2 of the biggest, you know, Coca-Cola and McDonald's, 2 of the biggest companies in the world, spend millions and millions on advertising on a weekly basis around the world, despite everybody knowing about them, despite everybody using them, they still spend millions, because that's what's really important. Advertising works. So advertising will work for you if you invest in it and if you understand what your return on investment might look like. So please don't be afraid of spending money. Just figure out what your objectives are and know what it is that you're trying to achieve. Another question was, how much time do you dedicate to digital media marketing of your business? You know, 1 to 2 hours, 2 to 5 hours. You know, I mean, again, it should be, you know, it should be a decent amount of time. What you put into it is what you get out of it. As I mentioned, if you can sit down 1 day a month and do your content calendar and plan everything out, but all throughout the week then that you're monitoring, you're optimizing, you're looking how things are going. If we don't invest time in marketing our business, then unfortunately our business won't get marketed, and we won't be as successful as we hope to be. Again, you know, these are the different kind of results that you can see when you spend time on your website. You can see the different actions. It's so simple and easy. Facebook and Google provide you with all of these results, so there's no excuses. You can see what has worked, what hasn't worked, and you can repeat what has done well, and you can stop doing what hasn't done well. But if you don't monitor it, no one else will. So that's just really, really important that you invest the time in it. Not forgetting, word of mouth marketing is the oldest and most most effective form of marketing. Oftentimes when we get one client via digital media, we may get 5 clients back from word of mouth recommendations. That is often a lot of my clients, and as a coach, a lot of my clients have come from word of mouth. So, you know, remember, your return of investment isn't necessarily just that one client that you get back, or that, you know, one campaign that worked. It could actually mean that it's worth 1,000 or 2,000 to you in terms of referrals. You can't get a referral unless you get that first client to talk about how wonderful you've been. So make sure that you understand the whole and not just the part. And then other things that you can do as well, just in terms of creating posters or promoting yourself, asking, you know, NLP, asking questions, looking at what, you know, what people are going to be looking for, helping people to identify with themselves. These are just some posters that I created that you can print out and pop in various different places that you might, you know, local libraries, local community centres, places like that, where people might be looking for you as well, and directing people to your website or directing people to your social media pages as well. So that's it. I think I'm bang on the 90 minutes. I am 3 minutes to spare. So I hope that has been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. Again, like I say, I really did just skim the surface. There is a lot to go through. I am starting a 6-session course, which in-depthly covers SEO, social media management, content creation, paid advertising, the art of selling, and confidence workshops. So the big thing is putting yourself out there. So if anybody is interested, please drop me an email, or my details there. Oh, it's actually 353, not 535. But I can give details anyway to the organization. Please add me on LinkedIn. That's actually what your number one thing should be from my advice. Add me on LinkedIn, Ariana Dunne, and any information. The courses are starting on the 8th of August and will be happening every 3 weeks. So please get in touch and I can send you some more information about that as well. So yeah, that's it, Dawn. Thank you very much. I don't know if we can unmute people.
Wow. Here. Yeah. I mean, I can tell why you were talking so fast, Ariana. That was, I mean, fantastic, content-rich webinar. Thank you so much. And as you said, you know, you stopped to look at the question box and there was quite a few comments saying, this is fantastic stuff. Thank you. I'm really enjoying it. Very useful. Well worth 90 minutes with you. So very much appreciated. Huge thanks. You've pushed me to do this video this Friday in 90 seconds, Louisa. I'm sure you will. I know you're a great coach as well, and you do what you say you're going to do. So, I mean, as we end with all our webinars, we just have 60 seconds of quiet reflection time for CPD purposes. What have you got out of today? So whether you want to put it on the chat box or whether you want to do it in your own space on your own pad, it's entirely up to you. But 60 seconds now. I'm going to be quiet, because if you leave your CPD learning points until the weekend or whatever, you're going to be forgotten 90% of what Ariana has said. So it's important you capture all your to-dos now. Okay, everybody. So unless anybody has a burning question that they can't leave this call without asking Ariana while she's in the hot seat, flag it up now. Otherwise, we will put the recording so that you can, in your own time, go through the slides again and listen to Ariana. and keep pressing the pause button and making your notes. All of that will be on the website, on our blog site sometime next week. So Ariana, you're a star, very generous with your time. Really, really appreciate it. Look forward to working with you again.
Yes,
thank you so much. I'm certainly going to follow you on all social media, and I'm going to mirror whatever it is that you're doing, because obviously it works. If it works for you, it'll work for us.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Okay, brilliant. Right. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.